say ah.
Most of us have no idea which drug poses the biggest threat to our children's health. Heroin, crack, ecstasy. Surprisingly, it's none of these. This drug is perfectly legal, it's cheap, and you can find it in shops like this in every village, town, and city in Britain. And now that alcohol tastes like lemonade, many children as young as 9 or 10 are trying it. At 13, a third drink alcohol regularly. By 14, it's the majority.
I'm distressed. Come here. Hi, Lisa. Hi. You feel sick?
It's midnight at Cardiff Royal Infirmary on a typical Saturday night. Lisa has been drinking alcohol and is drifting in and out of consciousness. Lisa is just 12 years old.
Yes. Is that so? Please? Yes, don't touch, don't touch. Where did you get the drink from? You must know. You didn't buy it. Who bought it then? Lisa is always taken to the youth club, either by myself or a friend's parent, and collected the same way. But she and a friend have managed to buy some cans. She's consumed them, and now she's in a terrible state at casualty. She's got to be kept in for observation. She's going to be transferred to another hospital. It's like, this isn't happening to me.
Right, Lisa.
What I'm so angry about is the fact that she's been able to purchase this alcohol and her age. And the fact that these shops can just sell it. You know, there's no control whatsoever, because at the end of the day, all right, we know we've got signs in the shop saying it is illegal to sell under the age of, but all they're thinking about is the till ringing. And, you know, they're not stopping to think about what's happening to these children that are getting hold of it, because that's all they are, children.
Another Saturday night, and this 15-year-old has been found semi-conscious outside a public toilet.
What have you been drinking? Pardon? Cider. Have you had any tablets?
No.
You sure?
No.
You smoked anything?
No.
Oh, good girl.
No.
You've just had cider.
No.
How much have you had?
2 liters.
2 litres, right.
Staff at Cardiff say they get a couple of cases like these every week, around 100 a year. But as with most hospitals, there are no official figures. With one exception, Joan Robson, a paediatric consultant in Liverpool, has been analysing her admission records.
The total number last year was around 200, which is a 10-fold increase since the 1980s, when we used to get about 20 youngsters a year coming in under the influence of alcohol.
Extended nationally, this means as many as 5,000 children under 16 end up in hospital seriously ill through alcohol every year.
A lot of these children are unconscious, and when the blood results come back an hour or so later, and we can say we think it's all alcohol because the blood level is 150, 200, which is 2 to 3 times the legal limit for driving. The parents are relieved. They say, oh, we're glad it's only alcohol. Because, I think because of the social view that alcohol is a harmless, fun thing, and people don't think of alcohol as a drug, which of course it is, and potentially has the same harmful results as other drugs. People do die from overdoses of alcohol.
Eastwood, near Nottingham. Young people here, as in any part of Britain, complain of boredom and nothing to do. For children, alcohol has become increasingly trendy. And it's never been easier to buy. There are now 11,000 more shops licensed to sell alcohol than there were 10 years ago. Claire and Michelle are both 12. They drink regularly and say 3/4 of their class do too. It's become almost a cult for children to drink Alcopops, fizzy drinks laced with alcohol. They were launched 2 years ago and are already a £250 million market. The drinks industry claim Alcopops are aimed at adults. They're stronger than most beers. But their sweetness masks the taste of alcohol and makes them attractive to youngsters like Claire and Michelle.
Well, I like hooch best, the apple one best, and I like black currant.
Why do you like hooch?
You can't taste the alcohol in it, and it's nice. Yeah, I like Woodies, and I like Castaway. That's nice, and but hooch is my favourite.
Claire?
Castaway is really my favourite. It's like a tropical fruit drink. I think it's fruit wine or something.
Have you tasted Woodies?
Yeah, I've had the strawberry and lemon. It's not as nice as the hooch, but it is nice. I like that one, passion fruit, smooch. It's sort of sweet and it's got a nice aftertaste. But apple's my favourite. I don't really like the lemonade because that one tastes too much like cider, and cider makes me feel ill. I don't really fancy that.
Children have hung around in parks for years. Now at weekends, it's usually with a drink. And as the law stands, in most parts of Britain, it's perfectly legal for 12-year-olds to drink alcohol in a public place.
Did you enjoy being drunk?
Yeah, looking back on it, I did enjoy myself, but then I think of when I sobered up and I went home and I was so drunk, and I went up to my bedroom. And
That's the part that you don't enjoy.
I was actually sick in a plastic bag in my bedroom because my mum and dad was downstairs. So that's the part I didn't enjoy because I just sipped up water just beside her.
It's my sister's got out. How do you usually get your alcohol?
Older people to get it.
Yeah.
Usually my sister.
Why do you like drinking alcohol?
Well, it depends what it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, if it's like hooch, then you like the taste, but if it's like cider, it's just
the
like
effect.
the effect.
What is the effect that you like?
The happy feeling, like if you're miserable or something, then like
Just a bit boozy, aren't you?
yeah, you're just always
you just feel
happy,
dead happy.
like floating.
Nobody ever messes with weather, 'cause they don't make your day.
A few streets away, another group. Boys aged 13, 12, 11, and youngest of all, Craig, who's 10.
How much do you drink?
Friday sometimes.
Like, every often when we can get the money, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we can get the money.
Get some money.
So what do you drink?
Because life's boring.
Yeah.
What flavour are you drinking?
Blackcurrant. We like the apple more. It's because you can't taste the beer or it's not twangy anything. Because these are a bit twangy.
I like apple.
Are there any other of those types of drinks that the Alcopop?
Jamming, that's nice.
Jamming's nice, yeah. And 2 dogs. It's like this, but it's lemonade instead in a can, about that much. It's like popping a can, but it's called 2 dogs.
I like a martini, I do.
Martini.
The wine one.
Oh yeah. I'm had some of that. I've only got a bit left. Same with
I think you're unusual for drinking.
No, everyone drinks, don't they? Everyone drinks around here.
Craig's from a close-knit Eastwood family. His parents, Helen and Mick, both work. He lives with his older sisters, Kerry, now 14, and Gemma, who's 12. The Scotts know both their daughters drink.
What, Craig? No, not vodka.
They know 10-year-old Craig drinks as well, but are not sure how much.
I think the big change nowadays is that when we was young, we used to hide in the corner and have a crafty drink.
Yeah.
Now you see the teenagers walking around carrying the bottles of hooch and all the different
Showing off.
pops,
Yeah.
what you know, Alcopops, and they're drinking it all in the open as if it's the norm. They all think it's the normal thing now.
Do you ever drink at home?
No, I'd sooner have a cup of tea than drink, you know. We don't have alcohol in the house, do we?
No.
You know. Only at Christmas, or say like we have barbecues. We have a barbecue, don't we? We'll soon be having one, won't we, Gemma? I can tell when they have been drinking, because they come in, don't they, and try and talk properly.
Do you ever talk to Craig about alcohol?
We've tried to, but Craig's got a mind of his own, like, you know what I mean? You tell him to do one thing and he'll do the other, like, so, you know, it's no point in telling him to do something because they're just in one ear, out the other.
When I find out that they've been drinking, we ground them, don't we? But then they just go out and do it again. So, you know, I mean, that's the only discipline you can use nowadays, like grinding or stopping giving them money. But same as Kerry says, they'll get it from somebody else. Like the friends owe him money, so they'll go and buy him some alcohol, you know, or something like that, don't they? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, we try. You know, we've tried, haven't we? But they just go out and do it, don't you? No matter what. You know. I mean, I don't even know Craig's had a drink while he's been out, but what can you do? You can't keep them in all the time. They've got to have a freedom, haven't they?
Come on, tonight.
South Shields on Tyneside. Kelvin's been drinking and he's dislocated his shoulder, but nurses aren't sure whether he's fallen or been in a fight.
If anyone saw the state these youngsters are in, saw the emergency that it is, in which they've got to be resuscitated, I think they might have a different view of it being just a bit of fun or kids experimenting. Because most things that kids have a bit of fun with doesn't potentially do them so much harm.
From what we can gather, he's had about 4 cans and about somewhere between quarter and half bottle of vodka. He has been drunk before. It's not the first time. It's this, well, about the third time that I know of. It's the second time he's ended up in here through drink. And hopefully this will be his last time.
When did you start drinking, Kelvin?
How are you?
3, 4 months ago.
3 or 4 months ago?
Longer than that?
Yes, a lot longer than that. Yeah, the first time was about 18 months ago.
When he was, what, 13?
Yeah.
I don't know how many of the 200 or so who've been in here in the last year have got long-term problems. We do hope in the future to be able to look at that. My colleagues who work in the adult units do have people in their 20s who have liver failure due to long-term drinking, and so they must have started as teenagers.
Hello, Linda. Hi.
That's the experience of Dr. Miles Allison, a liver specialist in Newport, South Wales.
How are you today?
Linda Gallier has alcoholic liver disease. She's still in her 30s.
Feel a bit better for having had all that fluid drained off? Good, good, okay. Well, you're coming towards the end of your stay here in the hospital. You've been in here now 6 weeks, I think. And this time you had the most serious complication of all, which is the hemorrhaging from the veins, the bringing up of blood from the esophageal varices. We have banded those now twice, and I'm very happy that things are going and that there hasn't been any further bleeding. I don't know if you realise how close to death you were on this occasion when you came in. I mean, really, with that bleed, that was very severe.
Yes,
And in other words, if anybody offers you a drink, you have to turn it down. To them it's fine, but to you it's poison. Okay, you just have to regard it as wrong to take any alcohol at all. It's as serious as that. Run into trouble and require further admission, and I don't think you'll make it till the end of '97. I've had 2 people aged 28, both of whom have died in casualty here. They've just been vomiting blood at such a high rate that we can't resuscitate them, and they've just died as a direct result of bleeding as a complication of liver disease.
Why should somebody in their 20s get liver disease, do you think?
In order to get cirrhosis, really, you need to have been drinking fairly heavily over at least 10 years. So I think more people are starting to drink at a younger age. So usually somebody 28, you would have expected them to have had heavy drinking really for at least 10 years.
Rowena Marsden has been drinking regularly for 5 years, heavily for the last 2. She's just 18, is now in counselling and trying to cut back.
Sunday. 8 pints of lager.
Oh dear, was that ordinary strength then?
I don't know. Was that drunk? Was that drunk? Yeah, it was in the pub.
Yeah, okay.
1 Advocaat. About 4 pints of cider because I had the lager mixed with the cider snakebite. That will probably be.
Can you remember about Monday?
Monday. Yeah, I had a bottle of cider on Monday.
How big's the bottle?
A 2-litre bottle.
Right. Can you remember Tuesday?
Tuesday. No, I didn't drink anything Tuesday.
Right.
Most young drinkers don't become alcoholics, but someone like Rowena, who drinks heavily as a teenager, is more likely to be drinking heavily when she's older.
I drank a bottle of 2020, 2 bottles of Beck's, and 1 bottle of Stella.
Right, so if I just do my higher mathematics.
Units of alcohol are based on recommended safe limits for adults, but it's almost impossible to set safe limits for youngsters because of the variation in body weight and build.
About 66 units, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I was drinking about 93 units before.
But obviously you know what the sensible limits are for women. Yeah?
14.
14, and it's quite a lot over the top.
Yeah. Well, if it's getting lower, then all I can say is things are improving.
Really, you are risking your health drinking at this level. A woman drinking 35 plus units a week, it would only take her sort of 2 to 3 years to become physically dependent on alcohol. And in fact, you have been heavy drinking for 2.5 to 3 years now. I believe that you're very unlikely to be able to control your drinking at a low level over time. And I would prefer it if you would sort of make a decision to set yourself an abstinence goal.
Well, I really want to try to keep it under control instead of stopping, so...
You're only going to succeed at what you set yourself to do.
Well, I keep trying.
Muscles are quite weak. Can you just shuffle down the bed a touch? Okay. Right. That's not nearly as swollen as it was.
Oh, nowhere near.
No, that's much better. Deep breath in. Right. That's your liver's quite tender still. Mostly gas in there now. It's really not too bad. And that tenderness has settled down quite a bit. No more fluid there.
No.
Right. Good. Okay. If you'd like to come up and take a seat when you're ready. We've recently looked at the figures in our hospital at all the deaths of all causes under the age of 45, and an analysis of that shows that 1/3 of those deaths under the age of 45 are as a direct result of some form of alcoholic disease.
When I was a teenager, dressing up and going out, quite often I'd need a few drinks to make me feel relaxed enough and confident, happy, all the nice feelings.
Mary wants you to abstain completely, doesn't she? That's what she was saying.
She does, but I don't want to. I wouldn't.
Why not?
Because it helps me to socialise, it helps me to get up and dance. I don't know, I wouldn't say I need a drink to get up and dance, but it does give me, it kick-starts me, you know, and it just makes me want to dance.
There obviously came a point where it became a problem, but I can't pinpoint it. It's a gradual thing. I was always getting problems with my tummy. I went to my GP and they did the normal tests. And eventually they did a blood test and asked me how much I was actually drinking. And I probably underestimated a lot when I told them, and they said that's far too much. You're going to cut it down. I was well into drinking by then. And I thought, well, I'll moderate it, I'll be careful. But it crept up very easily. It crept up more and more. Until it got to the stage where I was actually going to counselling, and I was told that every time I'd stop drinking, if I went back to it, it would get worse every time. The effects would get worse every time because it's a progressive illness. And they were right.
What did you do when you realised that you were drinking 100 units a week?
Panic, because the danger levels, when a woman drinks about 35 units, that's dangerous, and I was like 3 times over that. And I thought, oh dear, I mean, I'm surprised I'm not dead. I mean, how can my body cope with it?
Are you dependent on alcohol?
No. No, because this could be a Coke and I won't bother. I won't be bothered. I mean, I do drink a lot, but I think it's more of a, because I like it, not because I'm addicted to it or, you know, just because that's me. It just helps me relax and whatever. I'd rather die enjoying myself, do you know what I mean? And whether I die, I'm going to ask him to put a diamond white bottle in my hand. But never mind. When I'm buried. Because that was me.
I don't feel as if I know you. You take up all my time. The days are long and the nights will throw you away 'cause the sun don't shine. And nobody ever messes whoever, 'cause they don't break your day. And nobody ever seems to remember life is a game we play.